Om Sai Nadhaya Namaha. Chapter 5. Baba's return with Chand Patil's marriage party, welcomed and addressed as Sai. Contact with other saints, his attire, and daily routine. The story of the Padukas, wrestling bout with Mohiddin, and changing life, turning water into oil, the pseudo guru Jawahar Ali. Return with Chand Patil's marriage party. As hinted in the last chapter, I shall now describe first how Sai Baba returned to Shirdi after his disappearance. They lived in the Aurangabad district in a village called Dhoop. A well to do Mohammedan gentleman by name Chand Patil. While he was making a trip to Aurangabad, he lost his mare. For 2 long months, he made a diligent search but could get no trace of the lost mare. After being disappointed, he returned from Aurangabad with the saddle on his back. After traveling 4 kos and a half, he came on the way to a mango tree under the foot of which sat a fakir. He had a cap on his head, wore kafni, and had a satka under his arm, and he was preparing to smoke a chilim. On seeing Chand Patil pass by the way, he called out to him and asked him to have a smoke and to rest a little. The queer fellow or fakir asked him about the saddle. Chand Patil replied that it was of his mare which was lost some time back. The fakir asked him to make a search in the nala close by. He went, and the wonder of wonders, he found the mare there. He thought that this fakir was not an ordinary man, but an avalia. He returned to the fakir with the mare. The chilim was ready for being smoked, but 2 things were wanting: fire to light the pipe and water to wet the chappi. The fakir took his prong and thrust it forcibly into the ground, and out came a live ember, which he put on the pipe. Then he dashed the satka on the ground, from where water began to ooze. The chappi was wetted with that water, then wrung out and wrapped round the pipe. Thus, everything being complete, the fakir smoked the chilim and then gave it also to Chand Patil. On seeing all this, Chand Patil was wonderstruck. He requested the fakir to come to his home and accept his hospitality. Next day, he went to Patil's house and stayed there for some time. Patil was a village officer of Dhoop. His wife's brother's son was to be married, and the bride was from Shirdi. So, Patil made preparations to start for Shirdi for the marriage. The fakir also accompanied the marriage party. The marriage went on without any hitch. The party returned to Dhoop, except the fakir, who stayed back in Shirdi and remained there forever. How the fakir got the name Sai. When the marriage party came to Shirdi, it alighted at the foot of a banyan tree in Bhagat Mahalsapati's field near Kandoba's temple. The carts were loosened in the open courtyard of Kandoba's temple, and the members of the party descended one by one, and the fakir also got down. Bhagat Mahalsapati saw the young fakir getting down and accosted him, Ya Sai. Others also addressed him as Sai, and thenceforth he became Sai Baba. Contact with other saints. Sai Baba began to stay in a deserted masjid. One saint named Devidas was living in Shirdi for many years before Baba came there. Baba liked his company. He stayed with him in the Maruti temple in the Chavdi and sometime lived alone. Then came another saint by name Janaki Das. Baba spent most of his time in talking with him, or Janaki Das went to Baba's residence. So also one Vaishya householder saint from Puntambe by name Gangagir always frequented Shirdi. When he first saw Sai Baba carrying pitchers of water in both hands for watering the garden, he was amazed and said openly, Blessed is Shirdi that it got this precious jewel. This man is carrying water today, but he is not an ordinary fellow. As this land was fortunate and meritorious, it secured this jewel. So, also, one famous saint by name Anand Nath of Yevala Mutt, a disciple of Akkalkot Maharaj, came to Shirdi with some people. When he saw Sai Baba, he said openly, "This is a precious diamond in reality. Though he looks like an ordinary man, he is not a gur, but a diamond. You will realize this in the near future." Saying this, he returned to Yevala. This was said while Sai Baba was a youngster. Baba's dress and daily routine. In his young days, Sai Baba grew hair on his head, never had his head shaved. He dressed like an athlete. When he went to Rahata, he brought with him some plants of marigold, jai, and jui, and after cleaning, he planted and watered them. A devotee by name Vaman Tatya supplied him daily with 2 unbaked earthen pitchers. With these, Baba himself used to water the plants. He drew water from the well and carried the pitchers on his shoulders. In the evening, the pitchers were kept at the foot of the neem tree. As soon as they were placed there, they were broken, as they were made of raw earth and not baked. Next day, Tatya supplied 2 fresh pitchers. This course went on for 3 years, and with Sai Baba's toil and effort, there grew a garden. On this site at present stands the big mansion, Samadhi Mandir of Baba, which is now frequented and used by so many devotees. The story of Padukas under the neem tree. A devotee of Akkalkot Maharaj by name Bhai Krishnaji Alibagkar worshipped the photo of Akkalkot Maharaj. He once thought of going to Akkalkot, take the darshan of the Padukas of the Maharaj, and offer his sincere prayer there. But before he could go there, he got a vision in his dream. Akkalkot Maharaj appeared in the vision and said to him, "Now Shirdi is my resting place. Go there and offer your worship." So, Bai changed his plan and came to Shirdi, worshipped Baba, stayed there for 6 months, and was happy. As a reminiscence of this vision, etc., he prepared the Padukas and installed them on an auspicious day of Shravan, Shaka 1834, under the neem tree, with due ceremonies and formalities conducted by Dada Kelkar and Upasani. One Dikshit Brahmin was appointed for worship, and the management was entrusted to devotee Sagun. Complete version of the story. Mr. B.V. Dev, retired Mamaltadar of Tana and a great devotee of Sai Baba, made inquiries about this matter with Sagun Meru Naik and Govind Kamalakar Dikshit, and has published a full version of the Padukas in Sai Leela, Volume 2, Number 1, page 25. It runs as follows. In 1834 Shaka, one doctor, Ramarao Kotare of Mumbai, came to Shirdi for Baba's darshan. His compounder and his friend Bhai Krishnaji Alibagkar accompanied him. The compounder and Bhai became intimate with Sabun Meru Naik and G.K. Dikshit. While discussing things, these persons thought that there must be some memorial of Sai Baba's first advent at Shirdi and sitting under the holy neem tree. They thought of installing Baba's Padukas there and were going to make them of some rough stone. Then Bai's friend, the compounder, suggested that if this matter was made known to his master, Dr. Ram Rao Kotare, he would prepare nice Padukas for this purpose. All liked this proposal, and Dr. Kotare was informed of it. He came to Shirdi and drew a plan of the Padukas. He went to Upasani Maharaj in Kandoba's temple and showed him his plan. The latter made many improvements, drew lotus, flowers, conch, disc, maze, etc., and suggested that The following shloka regarding neem tree's greatness and Baba's yogic powers be inscribed. The verse was as follows. Sadanimba vrikshasya mooladivasat sudasravinam tiktamapyapriyantam tarum kalpa vrikshadikam sadayantam namamishwaram sadgurum sainadam. Upasani's suggestions were accepted and carried out. The Padukas were made in Mumbai and sent to Shirdi with the compounder. Baba said that they should be installed on the Purnami of Shravan. On that day, at 11 a.m., G.K. Dikshit brought them on his head from Kandova's temple to Dwarakamai in a procession. Baba touched the Padukas, saying that these are the feet of the Lord, and asked the people to install them under the foot of the neem tree. A day before, one Parsi devotee of Mumbai named Pasta Sheth sent rupees 25 by money order. Baba gave this sum for the installation of the Padukas. The total expense of installation came up to rupees 100, out of which 75 rupees were collected by subscriptions. For the first 5 years, G.K. Dikshit worshipped the Padukas daily, and then this was done by Lakshman Kancheshwar Jhakadi. In the first 5 years, Dr. Kotare sent rupees 2 per month for lighting lamp, and he also sent the railing round the Padukas. The expense of bringing the railing from the station to Shirdi and roofing was paid by Sagun Meru Nayak. Now Jhakadi does the worship and Sagun Meru Nayak offers the Naivedya and lights the evening lamps. Bhai Krishna Ji was originally a devotee of Akkalkot Maharaj. He had come to Shirdi at the installation of the Padukas in Shaka 1834 on his way to Akkalkot. He wanted to go to Akkalkot after taking the darshan of Baba. He asked Baba's permission for this. Baba said, "Oh, what is there in Akkalkot? Why do you go there? The Maharaj of that place is here, myself." Hearing this, Bhai did not go to Akkalkot. He came to Shirdi off and on after the installation of the Padukas. Mr. B.V. Dev concluded that Hemad Pant did not know these details. Had he known them, he would not have failed to depict them in his Satcharitra. Wrestling bout with Mohiddin Tamboli and change in lifestyle. To return to the other stories of Baba. There was a wrestler in Shirdi by name Mohiddin Tamboli. Baba and he did not agree on some points and both had a fight. In this, Baba was defeated. Thenceforth, Baba changed his dress and mode of living. He donned kafni, wore a langot, and covered his head with a piece of cloth. He took a piece of sackcloth for his bed and was content with wearing torn and worn out rags. He always said that poverty is better than kingship, far better than lordship. The Lord is always brother of the poor. Gangagir was also very fond of wrestling. While he was once wrestling, a similar feeling of dispassion descended over him, and at the proper time, he heard the voice of an adept saying that he should wear out his body playing with God. So, he too gave up samsara and turned towards God realization. He established a mutt on the banks of the river near Puntambe and lived there with his disciples. Sai Baba did not mix and speak with the people. He only gave answers when he was questioned. By day, he always sat under the neem tree, sometimes under the shade of a babul tree near the stream at the outskirts of the village. In the afternoon, he used to walk at random and go at times to Nimgaon. There, he frequented the house of Bala Saheb Dengle. Baba loved Mr. Bala Saheb. His younger brother, named Nana Saheb, had no son, though he married a second wife. Bala Saheb sent Nana Saheb for taking darshan of Sai Baba, and after some time, with his grace, Nana Saheb got a son. From that time onwards, people began to come in numbers to see Sai Baba. and his fame began to spread and reached Ahmednagar. From thence, Nana Sahib Chandorkar and Keshav Chidambar and many others began to come to Shirdi. Baba was surrounded by his devotees during day and slept at night in an old and dilapidated masjid. Baba's paraphernalia at this time consisted of a chilim, tobacco, a tumbrel, long kafni, a piece of cloth round his head, and a satka which he always kept with him. The piece of white cloth on the head was twisted like matted hair and flowed down from the left ear on the back. This was not washed for weeks. He wore no shoes, no sandals. A piece of sackcloth was his seat for most of the day. He wore a cowpeen, and for warding off cold, he always sat in front of a duni facing south, with his left hand resting on the wooden railing. In that duni, he offered an oblation of egoism, desires, and always uttered Allah Malik. The masjid in which he sat was only of 2-room dimensions, where all devotees came and saw him. After 1912, there was a change. The old masjid was repaired and a pavement was constructed. Before Baba came to live in this masjid, he lived for a long time in a place, Takia, where with gungru tied on his ankles, Baba danced beautifully and sang with tender love. Turning water into oil. Sai Baba was very fond of lights. He used to borrow oil from shopkeepers and keep lamps burning the whole night in the masjid and temple. This went on for some time. The Banyas, who supplied oil gratis, once met together and decided not to give him oil. When, as usual, Baba went to ask for oil, they all gave him a distinct no. Unperturbed, Baba returned to the masjid and kept the dry wicks in the lamps. The Banyas were watching him with curiosity. Baba took the tumbrel, which contained very little of oil, put water into it, and drank it, and then forced it fall into the container. After consecrating the tin pot in this way, he again took the water from the tin pot and filled all the lamps with it and lighted them. To the surprise and dismay of the watching Banyas, the lamps began to burn and kept burning the whole night. The Banyas repented and apologized, and Baba forgave them and asked them to be more truthful in future. The pseudo guru Jawahar Ali. 5 years after the wrestling bout the above mentioned, one fakir from Ahmednagar by name Jawahar Ali came to Rahata with his disciples and stayed in Bakal, near Veerabhadra temple. The fakir was learned, could repeat the old Quran, and had a sweet tongue. Many religious and devout people of the village came to him and began to respect him. With the help of the people, he started to build an Eidgah near the Veerabhadra temple. There was some quarrel about this affair, on account of which Jawahar Ali had to leave Rahata. Then he came to Shirdi and lived in the masjid with Baba. People were captured by his sweet talk and he began to call Baba his disciple. Baba did not object and consented to be his chela. Then both Guru and Chela decided to return to Rahata and live there. The Guru never knew the disciple's worth, but the disciple knew the shortcomings of the Guru. Still, he never disrespected him, observing carefully his duties. He even served the master in various ways. They used to come to Shirdi off and on, but their main stay was in Rahata. The loving devotees of Baba in Shirdi did not like that Baba should stay away from them in Rahata. So they went into a deputation to bring Baba back to Shirdi. When they met Baba near the Eidgah and told the purpose for which they came, Baba said to them that the fakir was an angry, ill-tempered fellow. He would not leave him and that they should better go back to Shirdi without him before the fakir returned. While they were talking thus, the fakir turned up and was very angry with them for trying to take away his disciple. There was some hot discussion and altercation, and it was finally decided that both Guru and Chela should return to Shirdi. And so they returned and lived in Shirdi. But after a few days, the Guru was tested by Devidas and he was found wanting. 12 years before Baba arrived in Shirdi with the marriage party, this Devidas, aged about 10 or 11 years, came to Shirdi and lived in the Maruti temple. Devidas had fine features and brilliant eyes, and he was dispassion incarnate and a dhyani. Many persons, namely Tatya Kote, Kashinath, and others, regarded him as their guru. They brought Jawahar Ali in his presence, and in the discussion that followed, Jawahar was worsted and fled from Shirdi. He went and stayed in Bijapur and returned after many years to Shirdi and prostrated himself before Sai Baba. The delusion that he was Guru and Sai Baba his Chela was cleared away, and as he repented, Sai Baba treated him with respect. In this case, Sai Baba showed by his conduct how one should get rid of egoism and do the duties of a disciple to attain the highest end, that is, self realization. The story is told here according to the version given by Mahalsapati. In the next chapter will be described a Ramnavami festival, the masjid, its former condition, and later improvement in it, etc. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all.